Hello, it's Riley again, and I'm going to be talking about how important it is that we have LGBTQ plus content in elementary schools. So I am currently majoring in early childhood education. I plan on going into education, and this is a topic that's very close to my heart. So personally, I grew up in a very religious family. I went to church every Sunday, and my family constantly told me that being gay and being different wasn't okay. I never really liked boys when I was little. I tried. I was one of those people where I saw it on TV all the time. So I thought that that's what I had to do because that's what everybody I was seeing in books and in movies, that's what they were all doing. So I figured that's what I was supposed to do. But I always felt this guilt, and I didn't quite know what that was about. And I would literally cry to my dad. I would be like, I don't know what's wrong. Like, this boy asked me out, but I feel so uncomfortable. So my dad would tell me to tell them that I wasn't allowed to date until I was 18. And that is exactly what I did throughout probably elementary school and middle school. When I had my first crush on a girl, I was in 5th grade. And I felt what I thought was guilt, like how I felt with boys. And so I freaked out. I was like, I can't be friends with this girl anymore. She makes me feel wrong and she makes me feel scared. I had no idea that it was a kind of scared that I liked her, and I didn't even know that being gay was a thing that people actually did. I just thought it was a thing that was a sin that people did that wasn't okay. And so when I got into middle school, I learned a little bit more about the LGBTQ community, and I joined what's called the MTEA, which is the Mohawk Trail Equity Alliance at my high school. And it was the first time that I had really felt safe about who I was, and it really made me feel seen. A lot of my friends were in the club with me, and that's when one of my best friends, who I had known since kindergarten, he came out to me as transgender. I didn't really know what to do with that information. I knew I loved him, and I knew I had to be there for him because he was my best friend. So I helped him figure out what he wanted to go by. I helped him pick his new name, and I watched as he just did so well being who he has always been and being who he was meant to be. And it felt so absolutely amazing, and it almost made how I felt about being scared about coming out, it made it feel really small. So I was like, if he can do this thing that's absolutely amazing and he can feel so great about being himself, why can't I? So I decided to come out to my family. When I did that, I told my dad. He was folding laundry, and I said, Dad, I don't think I'm straight. And I was crying. I freaked out. I was so convinced that I was going to be disowned, all of that. And he looks at me and he goes, okay, and? He said he had already figured, and he said that it didn't change anything about how he cared about me, but I had assumed that it was going to be a problem. And he had assumed that I would just come out when I was ready because I live in a safe space. But it was one of those things where we didn't talk about it. It was never brought up. I didn't know that I was living in a safe space like that. And that kind of ties into how important it is that kids are exposed to people that are different from their families, and that they know that it's okay to be different and that they're safe. So I'm going to read this book. It's called A Children's Introduction to Pride, The Inspirational History and Culture of the LGBTQ+ Community. It's by Sarah Prager, and it's illustrated by Caitlin O'Dwyer. I'm going to read a little bit from page 80, and I'll show you pictures after I read. LGBTQIA+ rights in school. Kids like you are seeing the struggle for LGBTQIA+ rights play out in their own schools every day. Some of the questions school administrators, parents, politicians, and judges are deciding right now include: should students be allowed to use the school restroom that aligns with their gender identity? Should students be allowed to play school sports on the team that aligns with their gender identity? Should schools allow clubs that deal with issues of sexual orientation and gender identity? Should schools allow books that deal with issues of sexual orientation and gender identity? In many districts across the U.S., the answer has come up no. As these battles continue to play out right now, LGBTQIA+ students are caught in the middle, stuck hearing damaging arguments about their worth. Straight and cisgender students also lose out on a fair, balanced education, and their access to the full curriculum or books is taken away, and LGBTQIA+ people are erased from their schools. I'll show you the picture before I read the excerpt. The Briggs Initiative. LGBTQIA+ teachers have also faced discrimination in schools, not just students. In 1978, Californians got to vote on a ballot that would determine whether teachers in their state could be fired for being gay. The state-level issue received national attention. In the end, 58% of voters said no, and the proposition was defeated. I personally really relate to the Briggs Initiative because I am gay and I work in an elementary school, and it is one of my biggest, it's something that makes my job complicated. I have students who, they're just curious kids, but they ask questions like, are you dating anyone? Do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a husband? I had a kid ask me if I had dated or if I had had a boyfriend, and I answered honestly. I said, I have dated, but I haven't had a boyfriend. And she was confused. She said, how does that work? And I had no idea what to say. So I just told her it was complicated. Because what am I even supposed to do with that? I'm so scared every day that one of these kids are going to find out that I'm gay, and they're going to go home and they're going to tell their parents, and then it's going to be a huge ordeal, and it makes life so much more complicated, and it's ridiculous because why does it matter who I love? I'm teaching your kids. I'm not bringing my partner into class. And when I have talked to my straight coworkers about this, the answer that I received is it doesn't matter, and you don't have to tell kids. You don't have to answer their questions. You're just allowed to say that's personal. But it goes so much deeper than that, because she can tell the kids, this is my husband. She can tell the kids, oh, my husband did this. She can answer those questions honestly, and she doesn't have to worry about it. It's not that I want kids to know my personal life. That's kind of weird. But I'm not able to tell them. And I'm not able to tell them and be confident that I'm not going to get in trouble for just existing as who I am. In conclusion, all of this, like, who does it hurt? Who does it hurt that we have gay teachers? Who does it hurt that there's a lesbian couple in your book? Who does it hurt? It doesn't, because if kids are strong in their religion, if they really believe in that, then it's not going to matter that there are gay people that also exist. And that's real life. And if your kid's not going to end up gay just because a teacher mentioned that gay people exist. If they decide to come out as gay, it's because they were always gay. Not informing kids about LGBTQIA matters does not make your kid not a part of the community. It just makes their life much harder if they are.